When Grim Reapers and Kamikazes clashed. Pacific Theater, 1945, USS Andromeda. The sea was still, almost deceptive in its calm. Lieutenant Commander Jack Reaper Maddox stood at the helm of the USS Andromeda, his sharp gaze slicing through the early morning fog. He'd earned the nickname Reaper after surviving 4 kamikaze strikes on different ships, always the last man standing, always walking away. To his crew, Maddox was a myth in a Navy uniform. Cold, calculated, a survivor. But inside, guilt gnawed at him. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a cursed man, a walking death sentence to those around him. Radar shows 4 unidentified bogies approaching, Ensign Darla Morris reported, her voice tight. Altitude low. Fast. Maddox's jaw clenched. Scramble the guns. Prepare for impact. The dreaded sound of general quarters echoed through the ship. 4 miles out, above the waves, Sub-Lieutenant Riku Sato tightened his grip on the yoke of his Zero fighter. At 21, he had been chosen for the final honor, Operation Tenrai, a new kind of kamikaze strike with a chilling twist. His plane was rigged not just with explosives, but with a volatile chemical compound. If detonated, it wouldn't just destroy a ship, it would blind, burn, and kill every living thing within a half-mile radius. But Riku had doubts. His brother, Kenji, had died in a kamikaze attack the year before. All that had been left was a charred ring and a ribbon. Riku had wept alone. That grief had grown into something else, rage, then clarity. He didn't want to die for a war that was already lost. Not like this. USS Andromeda, bridge. They're not in attack formation, Morris said. They're flying in a line, like they're stalling. Something's off, Maddox murmured. Suddenly, one of the planes broke formation and peeled off, descending rapidly, but not toward them. It hit the ocean hundreds of meters away, sinking with barely a splash. Maddox narrowed his eyes. They're not striking us. Not yet. Another Zero dipped, wobbling before its pilot ejected. A parachute blossomed, something never seen from a kamikaze. What the hell is this? Morris whispered. Get that pilot alive, Maddox snapped. Now. Ship's brig, 1 hour later. Riku sat shackled but calm. His English was rough but clear. My name is Riku Sato. I was ordered to die, but I chose not to. The others, they may not have the same resolve. You turned back, Maddox said, studying him. Why? Because this isn't just a suicide mission. It's a massacre. They've developed something chemical. One of the planes still out there has it. Maddox leaned forward, every instinct screaming. Which one? I don't know. But if it reaches your ship, no one survives. Deck of the Andromeda, sunset. The last Zero came into view, its engine sputtering. It flew erratically, as though injured or hesitating. Maddox stared through binoculars, watching the plane inch closer. Something gleamed under the fuselage, a tank, different from any bomb casing he'd seen. He turned to Morris. If what Sato said is true, we can't let it get close. We'll have to shoot it down, but if we hit that tank, we might kill ourselves. What do we do? She asked. Maddox made a decision. I'll take the recon plane. Fly up. Confirm the payload. If it's real, we lead it away. I die with it. Not you. You're not a kamikaze, she said, her voice cracking. No, he said quietly. But I've been dancing with death for too long. Maybe it's time I take the lead. Above the Pacific, in the sky, Maddox's single-engine recon plane rose like a whisper against the fading sun. Below, the Zero cruised forward. Its pilot, Maddox noticed, was barely holding on. Blood smeared the cockpit glass. Injured, but determined. He radioed back, it's carrying the chemical payload. Confirmed. I'm going to intercept. No. Rika's voice crackled over the comms. The pilot, his name is Tetsuya. He was my best friend. He was with me this morning. He said he wasn't sure if he could go through with it. Then maybe I can reach him, Maddox said. Air-to-air contact. Maddox pulled up alongside the Zero, wingtip to wingtip. He removed his oxygen mask, gesturing. Turn back. Land. Tetsuya stared, confusion and desperation in his bloodied eyes. Maddox pointed to himself, then to the ocean. He mimed an explosion. If you crash, you kill everyone. Then he pointed to Riku's name scrawled on a notepad. He held it up. Tetsuya's eyes widened. Recognition. He shook his head violently. Then, slowly, pulled back on his yoke. The Zero began to rise. But just as it did, flak guns from a nearby destroyer opened fire. No! Maddox shouted. Hold your fire! Too late. The sky ripped apart as shrapnel pierced the Zero. The plane nosedived, smoke trailing, and Maddox dove after it. Final descent. Tetsuya was slumped, dying. But his hand gripped the emergency release lever for the chemical tank. Maddox knew what he had to do. He nudged his plane beneath the Zero as the tank detached, catching it with the tail of his aircraft, veering hard left, dragging it away from the fleet. The radio hissed. Sir. Reaper, do you copy? Maddox smiled through the wind and fire. Not this time. The tank detonated in the clouds over empty water. A black mist spread like ink across the sky. Days later, Memorial. The USS Andromeda returned to harbor, damaged but afloat. Riku Sato stood at the rail, watching the waves where his friend and his would-be executioner had vanished together. Morris joined him. He saved everyone. Riku nodded. In the end, he chose death to preserve life. Just like a true samurai. Just like a real Reaper. She handed him a dog tag, battered, scorched. J. Maddox. Riku closed his fingers around it, holding back tears. I hope he finally found peace. The end. Let me know if you'd like a follow-up or continuation with these characters.